Today we're doing math pages 171, 172, 173, and 174. Psalms 136:26 says, "Give thanks to the God of heaven. His love endures forever." Okay, we're looking at 171 to start with. It says, circle the minuends where borrowing is not necessary. Do not work the problem. So this is going to be really easy. All we have to do is circle the top part if borrowing is not necessary. I'm sorry, if borrowing is necessary is what I should have said. Alright, so 5/8 minus 7/8. Oh, we'd have to borrow to do that. So we need to circle this because the minuend is 1 and 5/8, and borrowing is necessary for that one. B, 3/5 minus 3/5. You don't have to borrow for that, so we're not going to circle that one. C, 11 and 9/10 minus 7. You don't have to borrow for that one, so we're not going to circle that. D, 4 and 1/4 minus 3 and 3/4. Well, you'd have to borrow because you can't take 3/4 away from 1/4. So we're going to circle 4 and 1/4. E, 7 and 1/3 minus 6 and 2/3. You can't take away 2/3 from 1/3, so you would have to borrow. So we're going to circle 7 and 1/3. F, 8 and 4/9 minus 6 and 8/9. You do have to borrow to take away 8/9 from 4/9. So that was really easy. We didn't have to solve them, but we just had to recognize whether borrowing was needed or not. Number 2, it's telling us to subtract carefully. There's going to be a lot of borrowing going on here. And also, if a fraction can be reduced in the answer, we need to reduce it. So let's look at 2a. We can't take 3/4 away from 1/4, so we got to borrow from the 3. We're left with 2. We've borrowed 1, so what we're going to do is the one we borrowed is going to be 4/4. We're going to add it to our 1/4. So what I mean is now we have 2 and 5/4. I've took the 4/4 that we borrowed, added to 1/4, and I'm just going to bring out over the other part, 1 and 3/4. Now we can subtract our fractions. 5 minus 3 would be 2/4. 2 minus 1 would be 1. And we have 1 and 2/4. Now we're not done because that can be reduced. What goes into both 2 and 4? 2 does. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 4 two times. And our answer is 1.5. B, we got to borrow from the 8. It becomes a 7. We've borrowed 1. So the 1 we borrowed is going to be 5/5. We'll add that to our 3/5. 5/5 plus 3/5 would leave us with 7 and 8/5. I'll bring over the bottom part, 7 and 4/5. And now we can subtract. 8 minus 4 gives us 4/5. 7 minus 7 is nothing, so our answer is 4/5 because that can't be reduced anymore. It's complete. C, can't take away 5/6 from 1/6. We have to borrow from the 11. We're left with 10. We borrowed 1, so we're going to take that 1 and turn it into 6/6 and add it to the 1/6, so we're left with 10 and 7/6 minus 6 and 5/6. 7 minus 5 is 2/6. 10 minus 6 is 4. We're not done though, because 2 over 6 can be reduced to 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 4 1/3. We're going to speed up a little bit here. D. We'll borrow from the 7, becomes a 6. The one we borrowed will be 8 over 8. We add it to 3 over 8. And we now have 6 and 11 over 8. Minus 2 and 5 over 8. Okay, 11 minus 5 is 6 over 8. 6 minus 2 is 4. We have 4 and 6/8. That can be reduced. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. Our answer is 4 3/4. E, we got to borrow from our 4. It becomes a 3. The one we borrowed will be 11 over 11, and we need to add it to our 4 over 11. It would give us 15 over 11, so I'm scooting everything over. 3 and 15. 3 and 15 over 11. 2 and 7 over 11. And we'll subtract. 15 minus 7, we have 8 over 11. 3 minus 2 is 1. Can't be reduced anymore, so that is done at 1 8/11. F. I'm going to borrow from our 21, it becomes a 20. We borrowed 1, so we need to add it to 3/7. We'll make it 7 over 7, that's the one we borrowed, and add it to 3/7. It'd be 10 over 7. And I'll bring over the 6 over 7. So 10 over 7 minus 6 over 7 would give us 4/7. I'm going to subtract my whole numbers here. 20 minus 16 would be 4. I have 4 4/7. 3a, it's just telling us to add here. To add or subtract fractions, you must have common denominators. So we need to make the 4 and the 2 the same. What does 4 and 2 both go into? 4. So I'm going to bring everything over and make it into a denominator of 4. Four times what equals 4? Well, 4 times 1, so 3 times 1 will go here, and that would be 3. 2 times what is 2? 2 times 2 is 4. Sorry, I asked 2 times what is 4? 2 times 2 is 4, so we need to do 1 times 2 over here. That's 2. Add those up. 3 plus 2 is 5 over 4. I'm going to add the whole numbers now. 4 plus 2 is 6. 1 plus 9 is 10. So we're almost done. We got to take this fraction and make it proper. 4 goes into 5 one time. So let's just add our 1 to our whole number. It'll be 107 now. And what was left over? There's 1 left over the 4. 107 and 1/4. B. Let's find our common denominators. 5 and 10, they both go into 10. Five times what is 10? 5 times 2. So 4 times 2. 8. 10 times what is 10? 10 times 1. So we do 2 times 1. 2. Let's add up our fractions. 8 plus 2 is 10 over 10. 6 plus 1 is 7. 1 plus 7 is 8. So we have 87 and 10 over 10. Well, 10 over 10 is the same as 1, so let's add that 1 to our 87, and we get 88. Okay, on 172 at the bottom, we're subtracting now. Borrow from the 1, it becomes a 0. The 1 we borrowed, since that's an 8 right there, we'll make it 8 over 8. 8 over 8 minus 3 over 8 is 5 over 8. B, we'll borrow from the 2, we're left with 1. Since that's a 2, the 1 we borrowed will be 2 over 2. 2 over 2 minus 1 over 2 is 1 half. 1 minus 1 is nothing, so we'll just circle our 1 half for our answer. C, we'll borrow from the 4, it becomes a 3. Since that's a 7, the 1 that we borrowed will be 7 over 7. 7 over 7 minus 3 over 7 is 4 sevenths. 3 minus 2 is 1, and our answer is 1 4/7. I'm going to skip D because I don't have it on my screen. Go to E now. E, and I'll borrow from the 6. Gives me 5. Since that's a 5, the 1 I borrowed will be 5/5. 5/5 minus 2/5 will give us 3/5. 5 minus 5 is nothing, so we'll just circle our 3/5. F, let's borrow from the 2, we're left with 11. The 1 we borrowed, since that's a 3, we'll make it 3 over 3 minus 1 over 3, and that gives us 2/3. 11 minus 10 is 1, and our answer is 1 2/3. G, we'll borrow from the 8, it's left with 7. Since that's an 8 there, we'll make our fraction as 8 over 8. Minus 1 over 8 gives us 7 over 8. 7 minus 1 gives us 6, and so our answer is 6 7/8. You'll have to do the rest of 171 and 172 that we haven't done. Before I let you do that, though, let's look at 173. Kind of doing the same thing that we just did. We're subtracting here. 1a, let's borrow from the 1. We're left with 0. We'll make this 3 over 3. Minus 2 over 3, it leaves us with 1/3. Next one. Can't take away 2/4 from 1/4, so we have to borrow from our 6. Becomes a 5. We borrowed 4 over 4, so we're going to add it to 1 over 4. So we get 5 5/4 minus 3 2/4. 5 minus 2 is 3, 4. 5 minus 3 is 2. Our answer is 2 2/3. 2 3/4. I said it wrong. 2 3/4. Just testing you. Alright, C, we got to borrow from the 23. We're left with 22. The 1 we borrowed will be in 6/6, so we'll add it to 2/6. That'd be 8/6. Minus 3/6. 8/6 minus 3/6 will give us 5/6. And 22 minus 9 will give us 13. 13 5/6. D, borrow from the 10, we're left with 9. The 1 we borrowed, we're going to add it to the 1/5. So I'm going to add 5/5 to 1/5. It'll be 6/5 minus 2/5. 6 minus 2 gives us 4/5. Let's subtract our whole numbers, 9 minus 8, and give us 1. 1 4/5. E, borrow from the 4, gives us 3. The 1 we borrowed will be as 5/5. Add it to 3/5, and that would be 8/5. Minus 4/5. And that would leave us with 4/5. 3 minus 2 would be 1. And so we have 1 and 4/5. F. We got to borrow from this. Oh, before we even borrow, to add or subtract fractions, you must have common denominators. And we don't here. So we got to make our 2 and 4 the same. What does 2 and 4 both go into? It's 4. So I'm going to move everything over and make it as a 4 as a denominator. This one already has a 4 as a denominator. 2 times what equals 4? 2 times 2 is 4, so the top we need to do 1 times 2. And that's 2. 4 times what is 4? 4 times 1, so we'll do 1 times 1. Now we can subtract. 2 minus 1 is 1. Denominator is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Our answer is 2 and 1/4. G. Can't take 4 away from 2, so we need to borrow from our 8. It becomes a 7. We've borrowed 1, so that 1 will be in the form of 9/9. And we'll add it to 2/9. It would be 11/9 minus 4/9. 11 minus 4 would give us 7/9. 17 minus 6 would give us 11. So we have 11 and 7/9. 11 and 7/9. Okay, we're going to borrow from our 11. Becomes a 10. The one we borrowed is in the form of 8 over 8. When we'll add it to 3/8, 11 over 8. 11 over 8 minus 5 over 8 would give us 6/8. 10 minus 7 is 3, and we get 3 and 6/8. Now that can be reduced, because 2 goes into both 6 and 8. 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 8 4 times. And our answer is 3 and 3/4. I'm going to give you some hints. I'm going to make you do the multiplication on your own, but I'll give you a couple of hints. Look at number 4 at the bottom. I'm going to give you some answers here. I'm going to go out of order. I'm going to go these A, D, G, J, because I have the picture here. 1 decade is 10 years. 1 yard is 3 feet. I'm going to just fill in blanks here. You can fill them in on yours. Okay, if you look here, what I have on the board, number 6, it's telling us to solve carefully. Try to do the steps in A through C mentally. So in A, B, and C, it's saying try to do it without showing your work. Try to see if you can just do it in your head. 9 feet is how many yards? It's 3 yards. 24 bushels is how many pecks? Well, 24 times 4 would be 96. 6 centuries. Every century is 100 years, so you times that by 6 and you get 600. Look at number 8 at the bottom. I'm giving you some answers here. Go ahead and do the rest on your own on both pages. You can do it. I know it's a lot of work, but I believe in you. You guys are super smart. And here's some more answers.